Well, hello, welcome back to my channel. It's Sheila back again. Today I'm going to show you how to increase and decrease stitches. This is a little bit that I was doing when I showed the how to do the twisted rib. I've carried on as if I was knitting a sleeve. I've done one lot of increasing, which you can see the little mark there and there, and I'll show you how I did that. So you knit the first stitch and into the second stitch you knit into the front and then into the back of the same stitch, and that's one extra stitch you've added to that row. Now I'll knit across to the end. And you knit to the last 3 stitches, and then you do the same again in the 3rd stitch in, knit into the front and then knit into the back of the same stitch, and then knit 2 more stitches to the end. And that means you have 2 stitches at the end, and then the increase stitch on the 3rd stitch. And the same with the start, there's 2 stitches at the start and the increase stitch is the 3rd stitch in. And that's one way of increasing. And now I will show you another way to increase. You knit your first 2 stitches and then you go into the space between that stitch and that stitch down here and pick it up and put it onto the left hand needle, and then knit into the back of it so that the stitch twists. And that's another way to increase stitches. I'll knit across the row to the end and do it on the other end. And you knit your last 2 stitches, and again the space between those two stitches on each end of both needles, you pick up that loop and put it on the left hand needle, and again you knit into the back of it so that you twist the stitch. Well, it's not actually a stitch you're picking up, it's a piece of yarn between stitches, and that's another way of doing it. Now I think personally that way is a little bit neater than this way, the other way I did it, but it's personal preference, whatever you would want to do. And now I will show you how to decrease the stitches. Imagine this is a sleeve. Now I would cast off, maybe it's about 3 stitches at the start. So that's knit 2 stitches. Take the first stitch over the second stitch. Knit the next stitch and take that stitch over. So that's 3 stitches I've cast off there, and I'll now knit to the end. And I'm almost at the end of this row. And then I will cast off 3 stitches at the start of this row. 1, knit, purl 1, purl a second stitch, take the first stitch over the second stitch, purl the third stitch and take the second stitch over the third stitch. And that's 3 stitches we've cast off there. I'll knit to the end of this row now. I'm almost at the end of that row. And now for the decreasing. You would knit the first stitch, slip the second stitch, knit the third stitch, slip the second stitch over the third stitch, and that's one decreasing, sloping inwards. You would knit to the end of the row. And I'm knitting to the last 3 stitches. So the last 3, the first 2 knit together, and then knit the last stitch. And there you have that decrease sloping inwards, and that decrease at the start sloping inwards, and that's how you want the decreasing to go in, sloping inwards like that. I'll do one more row and show that. I'm onto the decreasing row. We will knit 1, slip 1, knit the third stitch and pass the second slipped stitch over. And again, that stitch is sloping inwards. And knitting to the last 3 stitches. Knit 2 together. And then knit the last stitch. And there you have 2 more decreasing, sloping inwards. And that's all it is to it. So if you like my little video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll show you more.